Disney Cruise Line travelers never need to worry about missing a live show so that they can have dinner. So, one question that often comes up on Disney cruise planning forums is if passengers need to worry about missing one of the live shows because of their dining time. So, fear not, Disney has that all worked out and you never need to worry about that. Hi, my name's Emily. I'm a travel agent with ET Family Travel, a platinum earmarked travel agency, and I'm here to break down dining times on Disney cruise ships. So on Disney cruise ships, whichever ship you're on, there's always a first seating and a second seating. The first seating is around 5:45, the second one is around 8:15. At the same time, there's an earlier show and a later show. So Disney has this all worked out. If you go to the earlier dinner, you go to the later show. If you go to the later dinner, you go to the earlier show. Then there's this great flurry of activity kind of in between dinners where there's character meet and greets and whatnot, and it's all pretty seamless. I'd say one thing that I learned after going on my first cruise in 2017, which was to Norway, which is that oftentimes you're going to have the best trip if you just kind of go with the flow. So on our Norway trip, some mistakes we made is that we missed our first dinner, we didn't get to know our servers, we made some last minute changes, and subsequently I learned that these things are so well planned out. If you go the first night and you meet your servers and you sit where you've been assigned, not that you can't change these things, but for me, going with the flow has always yielded like the best results on these trips. So part of that is kind of getting in step with the evening entertainment. So we typically like to go to the earlier dinner because we have a young child. So we go to the earlier dinner, do some trivia in between, and then often my son and I will go to the later show, and typically my husband might go back and rest. So that is our evening routine. Then at around 10 o'clock, there are more activities. But there's also kind of some downtime during the dinners and the shows. So if you're not going to one of the shows, there are still some activities, but there's fewer activities. So that can be good if you want some kind of quiet time in any of the bars. It's a great time to check out the shops. If you want to check out the shops with as few people as possible, do it during like one of the dinners or one of the shows. But the rest of the ship, not that it shuts down, but that's kind of what's happening. And so you can get some food on the pool deck, like up until the earlier dinner time. And I think there's often like something available, but for instance, you can't just kind of bail on dinner and go to the buffet at night. The buffet typically closes like around 2 o'clock. So room service is 24 hours a day, and you can always order room service, but it is really nice going to dinner with your family and just having that be part of your routine and just kind of knowing what you're doing. So dinner, show, I hope that answered some questions and kind of giving you a sense of like what the feel is on the ship. I'll do a longer post on this, but people also often ask like what is the schedule, what's the day-to-day schedule like on the ships? And if you haven't sailed them before, Disney doesn't release like trivia is happening at this time or that's happening. You'll know what time things are that you can sign up for. But you won't know the activities that aren't like pre-registration only. And so one thing I do to find out about that is that I go to the Disney Cruise Line blog, which is a great resource. They post like kind of crowdsource traveler submitted navigators, which are the daily schedules from other sailings. And as a travel agent, I just love poring over those. Between that and like some other travel resources, I love to get a sense of kind of what the ebb and flow is of the daily activities on a given itinerary. And you look at enough of these and you kind of get a sense of like what changes, what doesn't change, what stays the same, even going a few years back. So that's one of the things I think about as a travel agent. If you don't enjoy going through that level of minutia, I do, so feel free to reach out to me. But I hope that answers some questions and kind of makes sailing a little easier for everyone.